There are a few ways to get a customer's card information into Benji Pays so that you can process their payments or have their payments processed automatically for you. First thing is that you need to remember that all Benji Pays profiles are driven off your accounting system's customers. So the easiest way to add a card for your accounting system's customers is to add it manually. So to do that, once you're logged in, you go to Profiles, and then you're going to click Add New, and you're going to select the payment gateway that you want to get the card added for. It's important to remember that cards are tied to your payment gateway, and to that payment gateway's secure credit card vault. If you only have one payment gateway, this selection will already have defaulted to that gateway. In this case, we're going to select a Canadian card for Moneris gateway. The next thing we're going to do is select the customer that we want to have the card entered for. So go ahead and enter the card information that you received from your customer. In this case, we're entering test details. You can also enter a phone number here and an email address for receipts to go to. This section here, delay days, is if you want to have the automated payment wait a number of days after the due date of your customer's invoice. By default, Benji Pays will automatically process a payment for the card on file on the due date that is indicated by your accounting system on that given invoice. If you want it to wait 1 or 2 days, you would enter 1, 2, or any number in here to have it wait a couple extra days. In this case, we want them processed right away, so we're going to enter 0. Apply credit memos is if you want to have any credit memos that are in your accounting system for that customer applied to any outstanding invoices prior to Benji Pays processing their payment on their credit card. If this is enabled and there's a credit on their account in their accounting system, that credit will be applied and their credit card will only be billed for the difference. Send approved transaction receipts is if you want to have the customer receive a receipt of the payment. And if you ever need to disable their profile so that they're not automatically billed during the nightly payment processing, you can come in and uncheck this box here. In this case, we're going to save that. And now we can see the card's been verified and their card is now in the system. The other ways that you can get a card in the system are to send a card info request or to send the customer an invoice with a Pay Now link. To do either of those things, you first need to set up your portal. So if you go to Settings and then Portal Settings, you'll see here that you can put in a custom name for the portal. You can enter the pre-authorized payment agreement you'd like to have them agree to when they're saving their card on file, and you can upload your logo. So in this case, we're going to enter our portal name. We're going to leave the pre-authorization agreement as is, click Save. And then we're going to upload our logo by finding it and clicking Upload. You can see now that your logo will appear here. Once we've done that, we see there's now a new option under Profiles called Card Info Requests. If we click that, we can see any previous card info requests we may have sent. So we're going to send a request for a customer that already exists in our accounting system. In this case, we're connected to QuickBooks Online, and we can either choose to say we want to request a card for a customer that we have not yet entered in QuickBooks, or we want to request a card for a customer that's already in QuickBooks. So we're going to choose the second option. We're going to select the customer in this case, and then we're going to, we don't have any cards on file, but if we did, we could select one of the existing cards to have that card be updated when the customer enters their card information. In this case, we're just going to get a new card, and we want that to be on our US dollar merchant account, and we're going to send that to, in this case, our own email for demonstration purposes. So now that email has been sent, and we can see that this has not been viewed. We can resend the request if we need to, And if we click this blue icon here, we can also see the history. For instance, if we look at this previous one, we can see when the customer viewed and when we had sent it to them. So we're going to go to our email here, refresh. We can see we got an email here from Vandalay Industries. We're going to click on this link, and that takes us to our custom branded portal page where we can now enter, our customers would enter their credit card information. This is a secure page, and the information goes directly to your payment processor, just like when you're entering it manually like we did in the first option. Again, we're going to use some test information here. We're going to have to agree that we're authorizing, they'll have to agree that they're authorizing you to pay, charge their card for any invoices as they become due. Okay, so now our customer is told their card is saved. You will also get an email letting you know that your card has entered their information. And if we go back here and we refresh this, we can see that the card request that we just entered for is now gone. If we go to completed requests, we can see that here. We can see they viewed the link. We can see they received, and it was stored in our Moneris vault. The next option, if we want to send a card request to a customer who isn't already in QuickBooks, that's quite easy, and it's the same process. So we would send this to our customer. We can enter their name here. We're going to choose the gateway we want the card tied to. We're going to choose their email address and send it. We can once again see that it shows up here. This time though, we haven't tied that to a QuickBooks customer. So we'll see here the email first of all, that our card info request, the first one we just filled out, has been completed. So now we're going to complete the second request, just like we did on the first. And now that card has been saved. Once again, we can see we got an email saying that card info request was received, but in this case it's saying that we've created a temporary profile, and once we have entered the customer into QuickBooks, we can then link this card that the customer has just entered into Benji Pays to the QuickBooks customer. And we do that by doing this. So if we come back here, we'll now see that there's a yellow link here, and if we hover over it, it tells us we can link that to a QuickBooks customer. If we click this, because this card that's just been entered is not actually linked to any of our accounting or QuickBooks customers in this case, no invoices will be charged using this card until such a time that we link it. So let's now assume that we've entered the customer into QuickBooks. We can click this link, choose the customer we want to link this card to, and click link card. And now when we go back here to customer payment profiles, we can see this is the one we just linked from the temporary profile where we didn't have a customer in QuickBooks already. And then the other two are the ones that, this one is the one we entered manually, and this is the one that we had the customer complete the card payment info request for. Now you'll see there's a priority here, and customers can have one or more cards, and each card can have a different priority. When a payment is attempted, if the first card is declined, the subsequent cards will be attempted in the order of priority until one goes through. And that same process will happen every day on the nightly processing until the charge is approved. So the third and last way for a customer to enter their card information is for you to send a pay now link from one of their invoices. So to do this, we can go to open invoices and processing. On this page, you're going to see a live list of any invoices from your accounting system, in this case QuickBooks, that have an open balance on them. So in the first one, for instance, we can see that Dunder Mifflin owes us $125.50. We can get a link to have them pay for that invoice, and you'll notice only the gateway that supports US dollars, which is the currency of this invoice, is available for us to select for this link. We can also, you could copy that link and paste it into an email, or paste it into the send invoice screen in QuickBooks and send that out. Or you can email your customer a copy of their invoice with the Pay Now link directly from Benji Pays by clicking here, the email link. So that's what we're going to do here. You can put a customized message in here. You can select which gateway we're going to choose. In this case, we only have one US dollar gateway, so it's automatically selected, and we can send that by email. Now if we go back to our email, we can see we've received an invoice with a balance, as well as the PDF of the invoice outlining what the services were for. If your customer clicks on this link, they're going to come to your branded payment portal. They're going to see the details of the invoice that they're paying, and they can either choose to pay with an existing card on file if there is one, in which case it'll show up here, or they can say pay with a new card. If they do that, they enter their information just like they did on the card info request. The main difference here is that when they enter this information, they're actually paying for the invoice specified, as well as saving their card on file. And they're going to have to choose to save their card on file and then agree to the pre-authorized payment agreement. So now they can see their invoice has been paid. If we go back to our email, there's two things here. One is, as the company who's doing the invoicing, we get a notification saying that our customer has paid the invoice using the Pay Now link. Our customer also gets a transaction receipt along with a copy of their paid invoice. And if we go back into Benji Pays, we can see now that we have a second card profile for that customer. And if we click here, we can see the card on file for that card, and that's the one we entered for the second card. We can also go to Open Invoices and Processing and see that the invoice in question is no longer here. And if we go over to our QuickBooks company file, we'll see that we have a payment for that invoice. 10992 is the invoice, with all the details of the transaction stored in the payment memo. You also see the reference number for the payment stored here, and the appropriate deposit account for that gateway and currency has been used as the deposit account. Those are the easiest ways to get card information into Benji Pays so that you can start processing your transactions.